Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education.
What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job?
Be like everybody else.
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher.
You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you.
You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess?
What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Your son wants to get a cat,
I'll really take care of it.
but you're allergic. Do you A, prepare yourself, B, make the best of it,
C squared equals
25.
Good job.
or C, find a loophole? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
The following program was provided by an independent producer, solely responsible for its content. The views, information, or opinions expressed during this program series are solely those of the host and guests appearing on the program and do not necessarily represent those of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Brainstorm, bringing great minds and ideas together, exploring a wide variety of opportunities, achieving academic excellence, using the latest technology, government's impact, preparing for 21st century careers, parenting and health issues, topics shaping tomorrow. Brainstorm with Lisa Willever, bringing great minds and ideas together.
Welcome to Brainstorm. I'm Lisa Willever, and today we're talking about autism. Before we begin, let's learn a little bit more about our topic. We frequently hear the words autism, autism spectrum, and Asperger's. But what do we really know about autism and those on the spectrum? And how much of what we know is actually based upon current research? If knowledge is truly power, then up-to-date knowledge becomes the best tool for the parents and teachers of children on the spectrum. So joining me today, I have Dr. Thomas Zane. Dr. Zane, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Glad to be here.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about your background?
Sure. So I grew up in the Midwest, and I went to undergraduate and master's degree school at Western Michigan University. Then I worked clinically. I've been a clinician for many, many, many years, but after my master's, I worked for a few years in North Carolina with individuals with developmental disabilities, including autism. And then I decided to go back and get my PhD, which I got at West Virginia University in psychology, primarily applied behavior analysis, which is what we'll talk about a lot today, I'm sure, in connection to autism.
I'm going to ask you a very simple question because we hear the word autism. You know, over the years we've heard it. I don't remember ever hearing it when I was growing up, but over the years it was introduced to society, and then little by little we've heard more and more. The awareness has been amazing, but I wonder, do people actually understand what autism is? Can you give us kind of the simple explanation of what it is?
Sure. Yeah, lots of different people would give different definitions or descriptions. So this is mine, but I think it's generally in the mainstream. So we know that autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder. And so it's not just a learning problem. There is some neurological thing going on. And that's evidenced by the ratio of boys and girls. So 4 times as many boys get labeled with autism as girls. So something neurological is going on, but we really don't understand what. But that neurological impact has lots of manifestations, as we call them, right? So the big 3 core symptom areas would be communication. It's often disrupted from a mild disruption to severe in terms of like no communicative abilities. Behavior, and again, behavioral issues like behavior problems can range from none or mild to very serious ones, self-injury, self-stimulatory behaviors, aggression, that sort of thing. And then the socialization piece. So a lot of individuals with autism, they either avoid social situations or they have odd behaviors when socializing. For example, maybe a really invested interest, a total consuming interest in ceiling fans,
Oh, okay.
or trains,
Fixation on
things
Okay.
like that. So those are the three core symptoms. So again, all individuals are different, and those symptoms or those areas might be evidence in more or less severity. But if you look up the diagnostic criteria, that's what you're going to see: problems with socialization, problems with communication, and/or problems with behavior.
Now, is autism something that kind of came on suddenly, or did it just suddenly start getting identified and diagnosed?
Both. I
okay.
think it's always been around. Bruno Bettelheim in the 1940s was one of the first to diagnose autism in individuals. But lately, the incidences have been increasing. So currently, there's 1 in 59 individuals diagnosed with autism nationally.
Wow.
But in New Jersey, it's even worse. It's 1 in 38.
I thought I read something
Yeah.
about that. I think it was on the website. 1
Yeah.
in 38. That's unbelievable.
Now, there's nothing odd about New Jersey that produces that more frequent incidence. It's that the services in New Jersey are so good and so well known that families with individual autism want to come here because there's a good quality level of services. But the incidence has been increasing. And then the question always becomes, well, are we just diagnosing it more? Or is it truly something's going on? And I think it's a little bit of both. I think most of us think that we're better at diagnoses. People see individuals who might be struggling in some way and often leap to, well, maybe we better get the kid checked out. Maybe it's autism. But also, I think something is going on. No one really knows. There's no proven cause.
So nothing has been proven
No,
yet.
nothing's been
Because sometimes
proven.
you see articles and
You do
things
see
from
lots.
questionable sources, and they'll nail it down to a definitive cause. There's
Right,
nothing
and
proven.
I'm glad you said that, the questionable sources. So
Okay.
some people think that it's bad bacteria in the intestine, but that's never been proven.
Okay.
Some people, Bruno Bettelheim, who started this, thought it was caused by a cold mother. In fact, he coined the term refrigerator mother
Wow,
that
okay.
produced kids with autism, but that's been thoroughly debunked. So it's nothing to do with the mother or the father. It's a neurodevelopmental disorder. Some people believe it's toxins in the environment. That's never been proven. So no one really knows, but I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
We're more aware, which leads to more diagnoses, but also I think there's truly something going on, but no one knows.
Now, I know with my third child, he didn't speak until he was almost 2. And every week somebody said to me, you should have him tested. You should have him tested. And, part of my husband and I, we kept watching the 3 children. The 2 older ones were 6 and 7 years older than him. They were doing all of his talking for him. He didn't really have to say much because they were right there next to him all the time. So I know it's confusing for new parents to know, when are you being an over anxious new mom or dad, or when is it time to really bring things up to the pediatrician. So what should parents look for any kind of symptoms or signs?
So a common occurrence is that we see a toddler, young child developing normally, locked in socially, good eye contact, participating with other members of the family, and then starts withdrawing.
Okay.
So you start losing the eye contact. They struggle. They don't want to be sitting at the table with others, for example. They don't want to, or they want to play alone, or they play oddly. Maybe they've been playing with cars, typically, but now maybe they're turning the cars over and simply spinning the wheels. So often we see this regression around 36 months of age. Now, it can happen anytime, but often we'll see a lot of normal development, and then we start losing it. And if a parent were to see that sequence of events, that's a bit of a cause for alarm, and there should be some assessment done.
Does that mean if you start noticing this going back movement at 2 years old, that there wasn't autism prior to that, or was the autism always there and it's just manifesting at that age?
I think it's more the latter. I don't know if
Okay.
anybody knows precisely that all of a sudden hits, but there's probably some neurological event
That's there
that
from the
kicks
beginning.
in.
Okay.
Yeah, that's there from the beginning. And then something triggers it, like an autoimmune thing,
Yeah.
We might be going through our lives, but then something like we get sick, and that triggers other autoimmune things. It's probably something like that, where it's always there. He doesn't contract it at the age of 36 months.
Yeah.
Something triggers it.
Now, can it be diagnosed at 7, 8, 10 years old?
Oh yes,
It
definitely,
can.
sure. And I was about to say that it's being able to be diagnosed younger and younger with the advances in our assessment and medical procedures and things like that. So.
Now, from everything I've read, and I think everybody knows somebody who has an autistic child or knows of an autistic child in their circles, and I do know several, and I've always heard from most of the families that the thing that made the most impact was the early intervention. Can you talk to the viewers? We only have a few seconds right now, but just give me the brief early intervention, and then we'll come back after the break.
Sure. Bottom line, the earlier, the better. It's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that early intervention has the greatest predictive outcome for the kids. So early intervention is very, very strongly recommended for kids with autism. The earlier, the better.
And does that early intervention include, first stop talking to your pediatrician?
Oh, sure. There
or
needs to be
Googling everything yourself and trying to diagnose?
Well, Google is okay, but you got to get a formal definition from a professional who's expert in the field.
Okay.
And that then will kick you into the opportunity for early intervention. So that's a problem, though. It's hard to get. There's lots of waiting lists for pediatricians and doctors and psychologists to do this, but got to move fast, get that diagnosis, get into early intervention.
And be persistent as a parent.
Got to be persistent.
Because you're your child's advocate.
Oh, totally true. Totally
Okay.
true.
We are going to be back in a moment with some more excellent conversations. So join us in a few moments. We'll be back with Dr. Thomas Zane.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
And we're back with more Brainstorm. Joining me, Dr. Thomas Zane, and we were just talking about early intervention and how important it is. So obviously there are things that people can do to help those who have autism. And it is, as they say, a spectrum. Can you just tell me about the spectrum, what that actually means?
Sure. So no 2 individuals with autism look or behave alike. Every individual, just like we, neurotypical people, we vary across the range of intelligence, communicative ability, socialization, that sort of thing. So the spectrum means it can range from a child who you would be hard-pressed to identify as having autism to an individual who is obviously severely impacted with no language, a low intelligence, very difficult behaviors. That's what we mean by the spectrum. And
more of a range then? Is that for like a layman's terms, a range of mild to severe?
Yeah, for example, there used to be a category called Asperger's. You might think about Rain Man, for example, the movie Rain Man. So that used to be a diagnostic category, and Asperger's label referred to those individuals with autism who were maybe verbal, pretty good intelligence, very few obviously odd behavior problems or ones that it would impact negatively on other people. But the DSM-4, the Diagnostic Skills Manual, which is our formal diagnostic criteria published by the American Psychiatric Association, a few years ago when they revised the manual, they eliminated the Asperger's syndrome.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So now it's just the diagnosis of autism. But again, those who would have been labeled with Asperger's would have been on the higher end or the one end of the continuum. So that's what the continuum is,
Okay.
and you can find any individual falling along that range.
So now you do your work at Eden.
Yes.
And that's in Princeton, New Jersey. And this is a place that, even though it's located in New Jersey, has programs that are used nationwide?
Well, yes, Eden has a series of group homes and day programs for adults, which is
Okay.
very important. But our treatment methodology is applied behavior analysis,
Okay.
which is very important. I'd like to talk about that
I
a
would
little
love you
bit.
to explain
And
that.
many schools across the country and the world use applied behavior analysis. So ABA, as we often call it, it's a treatment strategy that is very effective with individuals with autism. In fact, the Surgeon General of the United States in 1991 formally recognized that applied behavior analysis is really the only treatment for autism that has a good evidence-based research foundation showing that it's effective. And so basically it's a learning approach where we believe that kids with autism, individuals with autism can learn skills. They can learn to socialize. We can improve their language. We can establish language abilities in these individuals. We can stop inappropriate behavior through a lot of practice and reinforcement and prompting of the skills. So ABA, its trademark is based on the philosophy of science and the practice of science. So all the strategies that we use in ABA have been thoroughly vetted through really rigorous research studies.
Okay.
And thus, that means that ABA treatments are vetted already to be effective, and that's why applied behavior analysis is so effective, because we are using strategies that are evidence-based through a scientific vetting of the procedure. And a thing I wanted to point out to you and your listeners is, in contrast to ABA, there's a lot of therapies that are coming into the autism world. Actually, we call autism a fad magnet, because a lot of treatments that are not evidence-based, that are very suspicious, that are not proven, are offered to the families of individuals with autism, and there are red flags. For example, some of the more gross ones are drinking a mixture of water and bleach. There's a fellow who advocates bleach, chlorine.
Somebody actually advocates parents give their children water and bleach for autism.
Yep. No scientific underpinning, and we know, I mean, anybody with common sense knows that's dangerous, you know? Another treatment is a fecal matter transplant, where you take the fecal matter of a healthy individual and you actually physically insert it into the body of an individual with autism, because there's this belief that I mentioned in the first segment that autism is caused by bad bacteria in the gut. So the logic is, if we replace the bad bacteria with the good bacteria,
that will cure autism.
That'll cure it. There's absolutely no science behind that.
But now the autistic community, the parents specifically, I would imagine at some point become so overwhelmed and so desperate to see some kind of progress that they become easy prey for people with nefarious ideas and want to take advantage.
So true. And the parents, they just want help. They just want something to aid their children.
Do you think the most important thing to get across to parents, especially those who are watching who may have newly diagnosed children on the spectrum, is that it will take time, you know, not to, you know, feel that your child's not progressing because there's some cure somewhere that promises it'll be fast.
There's no quick cure.
It's going to take time.
It's going to take time.
And hang in there.
It's what we've learned through autism treatment is that a lot of time has to be invested in learning, in going through treatment programs, like the early intervention that we talked about. Start early, because that gives the individual child more time in therapy. You can't drink a glass of bleach. You can't sit in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber a few times a week. And you can't get that quick cure. And I would, if you don't mind me making a recommendation to the parents, there's an organization on the internet called the Association for Science in Autism Treatment, ASAT, A-S-A-T. And that organization is devoted to disseminating science-based treatment ideas. As actually, I and some doc students at Kansas, we write a regular column for their newsletter about different treatments. It's called, Is There Science Behind That? And I would recommend to parents and service providers to go to the ASAT website to get science-based, objectively vetted info about different treatments.
Could be the most important website they have access to if their child is on the spectrum. Now, especially with so many myths, I would love to play brainstorm with you.
Okay.
So brainstorm is very simple. In the tradition of brainstorming, we listen to an idea. If we think it's good, we keep it, if it's valid. If not, you get to ball it up and shoot some baskets.
I would love to ball things up.
Balling things up is always fun. Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
Yes.
Number 1, autism symptoms can range from mild to severe.
That's all true. We talk about the continuum.
Okay, very good. Number 2, those with autism process and respond to information in unique ways.
That's probably true too.
Okay.
Yes. Different learning styles.
Okay. Number 3, autistic individuals have lower intelligence than others.
Certainly not true.
Okay.
We see a wide range, just like with the neurotypical. Hope I can hit the basket.
Look at that, 2 points. Number 4, early intervention isn't important.
Oh, that's false, as we said before. It's critically important.
Good job. Number 5, autism is a neurological disorder affecting the functioning of the brain.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. Number 6, parent training and support is not very important.
That's not true at all. It's very important to get the parents and the family involved as early as possible.
Correct?
Yeah?
Okay. Good. Number 7, for autistic individuals, community experiences are very important.
Very much, very true.
Okay,
very
so we
true.
want the community involvement.
With the community immersion, it helps the individuals learn the skills that they need to do to get along in life.
And as they become adults.
As they become adults, they need to know those.
Wonderful. Number 8, there is little that can be done to improve the lives of those with autism.
Of course, that's false. We have strong therapies and treatments that can really help these individuals.
Well, I think you've provided such wonderful, valid information for the viewers. I hope they visit the website, and thank you for everything you've been doing in the field of autism.
More than welcome.
And we will be right back after the commercial.
We welcome you back to our conversation on autism. I'm Joey Waller, and joining us now via Skype from the National Autism Association and their Texas chapter is Nagla Musa. And Nagla, first off, thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Joey.
So let's start with the general mission of your organization. Tell us, please, about that.
We are here to advocate for families and individuals who have autism. And what we do is we provide information, resources, support groups, and we also lobby with our state legislature in order to pass bills that are very helpful for our families and our children. And we do a lot of emergency personnel training to keep our children safe and our families safe. We do a lot of family events to keep the families connected. And we are very, very involved in our community.
Well, you mentioned safety there, Nagla, and speaking of which, tell us about at least one safety program in particular called the Big Red Box, right?
Right. This is the Big Red Safety Box, and what it is it's from the National Autism Association, and it includes things like stop signs, an alarm. It includes little bracelets that you can wear for the children. And what it's supposed to do is help you keep your child safe and keep them from going out the doors. If you put those stop signs on the doors, maybe it'll stop them for a few seconds until you get to them before they escape. You can also, the alarms will go off, and you can put the alarms on the windows as well as the doors. It also has information. It has a book that's supposed to tell you to have a proactive plan beforehand. So where your police officers are concerned, your emergency personnel, you can check with them and see if they have a program like Take Me Home, for example. You can send them pictures of your child ahead of time. You can have them flag your house on the computer. All of that helps keep your child safe. Our children are very prone to wandering, and keeping them safe is very, very important. So having the help of the emergency personnel, the police department, and having a plan that's already installed and ahead of time, this way, if something does happen, you can directly go into action and refer to that plan and search bodies of water first, all of that stuff.
Well, of course, that's one area of safety in the autism community. How about switching gears to another, namely bullying, which is also an issue? What's the first step parents can take if they think their child with autism is being bullied?
I think the first step is to go ahead and contact the child's teacher, the principal, and find out exactly what happened and find out if the school is investigating. I would also ask about the district policy on bullying and what your rights are. Look at your state rights in terms of legislature. Find out what it is that the school needs to be doing if they're not doing. And if the bullying is happening online or elsewhere, I would definitely report it to the authorities and find out from them what it is that can be done, whether you can file charges, whether you can stop it. I would talk with my child. And I would definitely find a counselor to talk about how your child feels about the bullying. All of that is very, very important to stop any harassment and to stop any bullying.
And Nagla, for those with autism that are working, how about employment opportunities, employment training opportunities in the Lone Star State?
In the Lone Star State, particularly in the North Texas area, we have a program here called Non-Parel. And Non-Parel trains individuals with autism for doing computer-related opportunities and jobs, and they help them find the jobs. There's also a program called My Possibilities, and that program as well has a day habilitation component as well as an employment training and search employment, supported employment. All of that is included. And we have some wonderful companies here that are very proactive in hiring individuals with autism, like Bank of America and Capital One, Walgreens, all of these places, Target, Kroger, Tom Thumb, all of these places are very, very friendly. We have our Texas Workforce Commission that contracts with a lot of vendors to hire individuals, to train individuals, and to support them in the employment field.
All right, so great news there to hear that some of the top companies really in the entire country are involved in that way. Well, Nagla Musa from the Texas chapter of the National Autism Association joining us. Nagla, thanks so much for the valuable information.
Thank you for the opportunity, Joey, and it was nice talking to you.
Same here. And that'll just about do it for us. So thanks for joining us.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Everybody has a dream. Mine mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.